Today is Tuesday, June 17th, and Angela Layman and myself, Judy Meyer, are talking to our mayor, Randy Hein. Did I pronounce your name right?
You did.
Good.
That's
And
right.
is that your full name?
I have a middle name also.
You want to share with us?
Sure. Burton.
Burton.
Yes.
Like Richard Burton?
Yes. So it's Randall B. Hein. Don't. That's why I don't. That's why I don't use the middle name or initial too much.
Somebody have a sense of humor or what?
I think my parents, because my sister, who's 2 years older, is Renee B. Hein, and my brother is 11 years younger. He's Richard B. Hein. So they gave us all three the same three initials.
They were bound to use that, weren't they?
They were.
Well, speaking of your parents, take us back to where you started your life. Where were you born?
Well, I was born here in St. Louis in the old St. John's Hospital, not the one out here on Ballas. So, and my mother claims back then they didn't have air conditioning. So.
And you were born when?
Well, 1959.
In what month?
August.
Oh, that must have been rough.
I'm a Leo. So, yeah, I always say I wanted to be born in the 50s because I wish I was born in the 50s because I like the music from that era, and so I was. I was born in the last year of the 50s, so I'm very happy about that.
Well, we don't get to choose.
No, we don't. No.
And so where did you grow up then?
Right here in St. Louis. I guess when I was about 3 years old, my parents moved to Fort Worth, Texas.
My
father got a job down there teaching for TCU, and also he worked for a company called Conductron, which is a government entity, government supplier. So we lived down there for 3 years. As a matter of fact, we were in Fort Worth when President Kennedy was assassinated, which was in 1963.
Oh, I see.
I remember my mother, she was hysterical. She ran across the street to the neighbor's house to see if she knew about the news yet. And that's probably one of my first memories, that I can remember.
I see that. That's important.
Right.
Well, how long did you stay in Fort?
We were there for 3 years.
Oh.
We moved back here for a year or two, and then we moved to Peoria, Illinois for a year. And then back here for fourth grade on. So I've been in St. Louis, I guess, since 1967. Haven't left since then. So.
What school district did you go to?
Well, I grew up in the Rittner School District.
Oh.
We lived in Overland at the time, and I went to All Souls for grade school. And after that, I went to CBC for high school.
Oh, you did?
The old CBC over on Clayton Road, which is diagonal from St. Mary's Hospital. My class, which was the class of 77, was the last mandatory junior ROTC class. So I wore a uniform all 4 years of school and learned a lot of self-discipline, which I think helped me later in life. So we wore the blue and gray Army dress uniforms. And there was a class 2 years behind us that they started to fade in the green Army-issued uniforms. But my class was the last class that was mandatory. And they continued the program for about another 12 years after that. It was a volunteer program if the boys wanted to do it. But my class, there was only 119 that graduated in 1977. I started in 73, so Vietnam was still going on at the time. A lot of parents didn't want their boys going to a military high school. So, but I found it great and don't regret it at all.
That's good.
So.
That's good. What about your older and your younger siblings? Where'd they go?
Okay, my sister, she went to Incarnate Word High School, which is where my mother went also.
Oh,
My mother graduated there in 53 and my sister in 75. My brother, being 11 years younger, he went to St. Louis Priory from 6th grade through high school. So, and then he went on and became an attorney.
Oh.
So, I think there's a lot of doctors and attorneys that come out of Prairie.
Do they live in St. Louis, your brother and sister?
My sister lives at the Lake of the Ozarks. She's still working. She has her own business. She started when she was 21. She has she's an artist by trade, so she designs and publishes counted cross-stitch patterns.
Oh, really?
And also quilting patterns.
Oh,
So
how nice.
I was trying to get her to come over for the quilt show at Gentry on Saturday, but she was already on a trip in Iowa, or had a trip planned, so
Okay.
she wasn't able to make that. But she has her own company called the Needle Love Company, and and you can go online and look at her product.
Nice.
Yeah, she has her own. She lives on the lake actually, and her and her husband bought the lot just up the hill from them on the lake. And they put up a 4,500 square foot building, so she has her warehouse there. And he has a business also. He sells cranes. So.
Trains?
Cranes.
Oh, crane.
Right, commercial cranes.
Okay.
So, my brother lives over in Brentwood, next to the Galleria. I think the name of the subdivision is called Berkshire. And he has his own law practice. He specializes in immigration law. But of course, I think most lawyers kind of do anything, But he's bilingual, or multilingual, I should say. His second language is Spanish, so he's kind of made a little niche for himself in immigration.
I see.
So
that's a big topic right now, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. And speaking of you now, you have your own business, correct?
I do. I'm third generation owner of the family income tax and accounting business.
Third generation?
Yes, my grandmother on my paternal side, my father's mother, started it in 1946.
Oh.
And my father owned it from 1970 until his passing in 2013. And at that time, I became an owner with my mother, and then she passed away in 2021. So I'm the sole owner of the company now. So.
Did you do any other type of work after you got out of high school, like prior to being in this business?
Oh, I did. So I started out actually as a theater major.
What?
Yeah. I went to St. Louis University on a partial theater scholarship.
How about that?
And after about a year, I decided I'd probably rather eat than starve. So it takes a lot to break into, acting and make a living at it. So then I turned my efforts to business and ended up in accounting. So that's what I do now. So.
Do you enjoy going to productions?
Oh, I love it. Recently, about a month ago, went to the production of Sister Act over in Florissant at their Civic Center over there. And Sally and I, my significant other, I'd never been married. Don't have any children, but Sally and I, my significant other, we've been together 20 years.
Wow.
So we enjoy going to the Muni, a couple shows a year.
Okay.
And one of my things I would like to see before I end my career as mayor here is a community theater group in Bridgeton. So I think I mentioned that when I was campaigning. So I'm always thinking about how we can get that going. And of course, I would like to be in the productions, but that would kind of be self-serving.
Mm-hmm.
So, maybe I could do some directing or something like that. So.
What would your ideal production be?
Well, to start out, something simple like Our Town, which is a play.
Uh-huh.
I'd probably start out with a play, or maybe Odd Couple. That's a simple play that could be done in a short amount of time, getting the actors together. As a matter of fact, I was talking to a resident Saturday at the outdoor pool, and he's an actor, and he teaches at Webster University also. So I talked to him about maybe helping get that group together. So hopefully we'll see that within the next 7 years.
Were you involved in promoting the new rec center?
I was not. I'm not sure if a lot of people know this, but Mr. Fetch and I, we actually campaigned against it because we didn't think the city was financially able at the time to afford it. There were two ballot issues on that ballot. I believe that was in 2013. One was a sales tax increase, and the second one was a bond issue. And the sales tax was to pay for the money due on the bond. So the sales tax issue passed. The bond issue to build a new rec center did not pass. We got it anyway because the next night at the council meeting, Mayor Bowers said that we could do certificates of participation. The finance charges on there are a little bit more, but they don't require the approval of the voters, just the approval of the council. So he knew that he had 6 out of 8 council members in favor of it. So once it was passed, and Mr. Fetch and I worked side by side with everybody else to make sure that we got the best facility for the money. And of course, it has turned out nice. And we get a lot of compliments on it, I know. And it's been, it opened up in 2016, so it's 9 years old now. January 2016 was the ribbon cutting. And we had the 20-year anniversary of the outdoor pool on Saturday. So
When they say 20-year anniversary, is
the new outdoor pool. I think there was one before that.
Right. That's the older one is the one I took my kids to.
Okay.
And of course, it was just strictly a pool, no fancy things, just a swimming pool with a diving board.
Yeah.
But so is the anniversary the one of this pool we have presently?
It is. Yes. Uh-huh. And it was a nice event. Mayor Bowers was there because he was mayor at the time, and Walt Semiglues came back. That was the director, Parks and Rec director, and Assistant Parks Director Joe Campbell was there. So it was a nice event. Of course, Vicki, she was there. She was involved in the new pool 20 years ago, and it was a nice day. So,
That's good.
yeah.
That's good. That's good. Can you tell us about some of the events that we do have here in Bridgeton that you think are important, and you hope that we keep these events going?
Oh, I certainly can. So our biggest event of the year, of course, is the parade.
Oh, yes.
And the 4th of July parade, which last year was canceled. No, we had the parade, we didn't have the fireworks. It was too wet. It had been raining for so many days in a row. And we didn't know if it was going to rain on the 4th, so we had to suspend the fireworks last year. They were mainly worried about the grounds that it's on being ruined, the baseball fields, because it was so wet and people would have been walking through that and ruining the grass. So that's our biggest event that we have. We have a boards and commissions dinner. I like that. I'd like to see that continue. A lot of our board members, everybody volunteers on the boards and commissions. So, and that's one way of kind of paying them back for their time that they donate to the city, is to have a nice dinner for them once a year, and have prizes that a lot of the local businesses donate. And we also come up with some kind of a gift with Bridgeton logo on it, and it seems to keep people happy. Without them, life would be harder as mayor and as a council person.
Well, speaking of council person, is that where you started your political career?
I actually started on the Finance Commission in 2009. Thanking my next door neighbors, John and Rosemary Hardy. God bless them. They're both deceased now, but they suggested to Mayor Bowers that he put me on the Finance Commission. So it was a 2-year appointment, and in the 2 years that I was on it, there were only 2 meetings. So one each year. One I couldn't make because it was on April the 15th, and that's kind of the busiest day of my year, being in that career. But as you might know, I ran for mayor then in 2011. I saw some things from being on the Finance Commission that I wasn't happy with, so I thought I'd give the mayorship a shot. I was basically the third wheel in the race. Mayor Bowers had 24 years in at the time, so he was running for re-election. And then our former mayor, Terry Briggs, was also in that election and unsuccessful. I got 10% of the vote. I know Terry was highly disappointed. However, had he gotten all my votes, which he wouldn't have, some of them would have voted for Mayor Bowers, he still wouldn't have won the election. But I did tell him that I would not run the next time for mayor. And Ward 3, which I live in, Christine Waitman, she had 14 years in at the time in 2012 and decided not to run for re-election. She had to spend more time with her family. So I decided to run as a Ward 3 council person, and I was successful in that campaign and successful every 2 years after. So also, Angela Layman's father ran for council in Ward 1, so we were elected the same year. And we became pretty good friends over the year. Although we didn't agree on everything, but we still, were able to talk through things. And, we did some socializing together, and very fine family they have. I always compliment Scott on his wife and his 3 daughters. So.
Good. Is there any term limit of office for council people?
There is not. Their term limit is every 2 years. They can be voted out. So that recently changed with the charter amendment of 2014. It went from 2 years to 3 years. However, you had to get through 2 election years because the election years for council members are staggered. They're not, if there's 2 members on a council, they don't both come up the same year for re-election. So I think we're on the 3-year council, 3-year term for half of the council, and next year the rest of the council will do a 3-year term if they plan on running for re-election. There is no term limits for mayor, so that's fine. Other than I can be voted out. I'm doing 3 years. Terry had won a 4-year term in 2023. He passed away February 2024, so he had already done a year of that 4-year term. So I am fulfilling the 3 years remaining on his 4-year term. I won the election, the special election, April 12th last year in 2024. At this point, if my health holds up, I do plan on running for re-election in 2024. 2027. But after that, I don't know. We'll see. I'll be 72 years old after that. I need to start enjoying life sometime.
How many council people does Bridgeton have?
We have 8. There's four wards, so there's two per ward. We have a good council now. A good mix. There's currently 5 women on the council and 3 men. So a lot of different backgrounds. I believe 4 of the council members are still working and 4 of the council members are retired. So it's a good mix. A couple, 2, 3, 4 of them are younger, and the rest of them are, I'm going to say, over 60.
Over. Uh-huh.
So I believe Councilmember Luke is under 60, and Councilmember Weshy's under 60.
Is he the youngest person?
He is the youngest. Councilmember Iowanu, I think, is right at that mark. I shouldn't be disclosing the ages, probably,
right.
Especially
maybe
the women.
Maybe we'll let her tell us herself in another interview.
Councilmember Patel, she's under 60. But
how many meetings does the council have?
We have 2 a month. They're on the first and third Wednesdays of the month. Sometimes we have to have a special meeting.
Really? Why would you have a special meeting?
Well, let me give an example. In 2023, there were 2 businesses that applied for liquor licenses. And it is normal that you have 2 readings on a liquor license, so you can't have them both in one night. And we were getting close to the end of the year, and we had already had our second meeting in December of that year, and they asked us if we could have a special meeting so the council could approve their liquor license so they could be open before the end of the year and for New Year's Eve.
Okay.
Because those are big nights.
Sure.
So that's one reason we had a special meeting. Sometimes if we're having a hearing, maybe on a hotel, as far as the status of renewing their lodging license, or if we're having a hearing on an establishment like a bar, as far as renewing their liquor license, there has to be a hearing on that before council decides on whether or not to renew it. So that would be another example of a special meeting.
What businesses, if any, would you like to see come to the city of Bridgeton?
We had a florist here at one time.
Right, and we did an interview.
Oh, did you?
Yes, inside the floral shop. It was quite delightful.
Orchid Dill.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, we did. Joe Turner and myself actually did interview him, and I hope that's available for people to watch.
Sure.
But
we still have a florist. It's up at Schnucks.
Right.
But as far as a mom and pop type florist, I think there would be some demand for that. Although people are ordering on the internet now, and they get flowers delivered, door to door. So I'd like to see a farmer's market.
That sounds like a very nice idea. Is that possible?
Well, I think it is. One location somebody talked about is next door to Lowe's, the Lowe's outlet, because they have that garden center that's not being used over there at this time. So probably myself needs to talk to Lowe's and see if they'd be interested in letting people come in and display their vegetables and fruits on the weekends and flowers and things like that. Ideally without a charge, but if they have to charge something, if they could come up with the amount, and then we can see if it's doable for the vendors, if they want to pay for a space or something. I think that'd be a big plus for Bridgeton.
It would.
Yeah, so a new business that we recently got in Bridgeton is the Arch Pickleball and Badminton.
Would you tell us about that?
Sure. They came from Chesterfield Mall. They had to vacate that spot out there because the mall was being demolished.
Oh.
The majority of the mall. I recently heard that they're keeping the old Macy's famous bar building at one end and the Dillard's building. I heard Dillard's is going to reopen out there, as a side note. But so Arch Pickleball, it's a husband and wife. They own it. They are of Vietnamese descent, I believe, and they purchased, which I like, so they're the owner-occupant of the former Weekends Only building, which is a pretty good-sized building. They have 24 indoor pickleball courts and 6 badminton courts.
Wow.
It's supposed to be one of the largest indoor pickleball facilities in the country, if not the country, in the region, So very nice people, and that brings in people from all over St. Louis. It's a club. You have to join. You buy a membership, and it brings people in from all over. So I'm hoping when they're in Bridgeton, they spend money going to restaurants or going to the grocery store, or Kmart. I mean not Kmart, Walmart, Kohl's, Target, other retail stores. Yeah, so I like destination businesses that attract visitors, from other municipalities. We have quite a few restaurants in Bridgeton. Not a whole lot of them are individually owned. A lot of them are chains. One of the individually owned restaurants I like in Bridgeton is Moss's. That's their original location.
Sure.
I do like the new small sliders. That's not individually owned, it's a franchise. The owners live in St. Louis, and they're opening up 3 others in the area. One in Ellisville and one in St. Peters. Not 3 others, 2 others, so they'll have a total of 3. I like the Chick-fil-A's. If you don't know this, we're going to have the second Chick-fil-A at the east end of Bridgeton.
Wow.
In the Farmer Hardy's lot there. We will be the only municipality in St. Louis County that has 2 Chick-fil-A's. So
They seem to do a lot of business. I go back and forth on St. Charles Rock Road, and it seems like they usually have a big business. They are closed on Sunday, correct?
they are.
Yes.
Yeah, they get their employees off on Sunday.
Yes.
Probably for religious reasons.
Well, so does Hobby Lobby, I believe.
I believe they do, right. You asked what other kind of businesses.
Right, yeah.
I'd like to see another sporting goods store in Bridgeton.
Don't we have one that just opened?
We have one called Hibbett Sports, I believe, in the Orchard Bend Shopping Center by Applebee's. It's a smaller retail storefront. We are going to be getting Burlington, Ross, and Marshalls that will be occupying the former Kmart building. And there will be one other store there. They have not signed a lease with the 4th tenant yet, though. So, grocery stores, people like variety.
Mm-hmm.
We do have Schnucks. We have Aldi's, and we have Almorelia, the Mexican grocery store. People seem to like that. I would like to see something a little bit different. Be nice if Deerbergs came in, I think. Let's see. How about what's another?
Fresh Time?
Fresh Time, something like that. Yeah, I'd like to see a vitamin and a supplement store. We don't have one of those. Just kind of different, unique businesses that bring people in. And
Do we have places available for potential businesses, either on Natural Bridge, which City Hall, where we are right now, is, or St. Charles Rock Road, which is rather the main corridor of Bridgeton?
Right, we do. There's a lot of storefronts available across the street here on Natural Bridge. They're smaller. On St. Charles Rock Road, the former Almorelia space, I understand that they're still paying rent there, but eventually they won't, and maybe that's 15,000 square feet. Maybe something else could move in there. And also, Lowe's is not occupying their total original space. There's some more space there. The tile store does not occupy all that building, so there's a little bit of space there. The Orchard Bend Shopping Center, I believe, is 100% occupied now. There is a hair store that moved in there, and it's called Beauty Icon. That's a pretty big space they're occupying. There was a Save-A-Lot in there at one time, and in the past few years,
yes.
the Spirit Halloween,
Yes.
had been renting that for
Yes.
for the season.
Right.
So there's a few spaces available.
Yes.
The Outlot on Target, they own that whole parking lot there. There could be another store or two constructed there, I believe, to use that space. There's some openings, 1 or 2 openings over in the Kohl's Plaza, smaller spaces.
What plaza?
Kohl's.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. I do like the stores we have over there. We have the Payless over there, and it's nice. Not Payless, Carnival Shoe. If you don't know this about me, I guess I can disclose this. I have a shoe fetish.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I did not know that about you.
I have 43 pairs of shoes.
Oh. Now does this include boots or sandals?
Oh,
all
yeah,
different?
boots, sandals, sneakers, dress shoes, casual shoes, sure. Crocs, yeah, things like that. But
Have you always been a shoe person?
I didn't realize I was until I started counting how many pair I had. Recently I've gotten into the Hey Dudes.
I'm not familiar with that.
Okay, they're a casual slip-on shoe. They're very light, made out of cloth. Have a very light rubber sole to them.
You could be their spokesperson. I hope someone's watching this. They could, you could be their spokesperson, maybe.
I have a pair on now.
Is this office as mayor of Bridgeton a full-time position?
So there's 87 municipalities in St. Louis County. Only one municipality has a full-time mayor, and that's Florissant. So this is a part-time position. I do plan on I already have been spending at least 20 hours a week here, but I'm getting to the age where I'd like to find a buyer for my income tax business.
Is that right?
Yeah. So
where is your business located?
It's on McKelvey Road. It's in the Northwest Professional Building, which is across the street from the Sarah community. Kind of diagonal from the library. If people remember where Romantique was.
Yes,
So the
of
next
course.
building up the hill from there. It's a one-story office building. They're office condominiums. So everybody in there owns their own business. You don't live there. When you hear condominium, you think that you're living in it, but no, it's an office condominium. My father rented for 43 years over on Cypress Road, and after his passing, I thought it was about time to make an investment and purchase a space, and it paid for itself in 3 years based on the rent that we were paying. So I'm very happy about that. It's not a big space. It's 650 square feet, but that's all I need because it's 3.5 months out of the year.
I was going to say it's a seasonal business.
Right. Yeah.
And what would you do after, if and when you do retire from the tax business?
I plan on spending more time here.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I love this job.
That's wonderful.
I love learning. We have a full-time city administrator. He runs the city on a day-to-day business.
What's his name?
His name is Kevin Bookout, and him and I consult quite a bit. I'm the mayor. The charter says that I am basically the CEO of the city of Bridgeton. I was elected. He is appointed, but he is the highest paid individual of the city, and he has good qualifications. So one of the reasons I'd like to spend more time here is I want to learn from him while he's here. And because you never know, just like the mayor, Kevin could fall over. He could all of a sudden say, I'm going to a different city.
Right.
Or he could say, I'm going to retire. So I'm trying to learn all I can from him. He has a lot of contacts. Mayor Briggs had a lot of contacts. I'm trying to make contacts also. But I get to know people pretty easily. So.
Well, see, speaking of contacts, when I did talk with Mayor Briggs shortly after he was elected, I asked him, do they have any kind of a gathering of mayors of the different municipalities? And he said he had just attended a lunch or breakfast of just that. Have you gone to any of these?
I haven't been to one yet. They had one scheduled last month, and it was canceled because it was going to be in Kirkwood, and something happened with their water that day.
Oh.
So the water was shut off for a lot of the businesses. But I am on their list. Also, I'm now a member. Well, I have been a member, but I'm on the board of the Municipal League of Metropolitan St. Louis, as Mayor Briggs was, and he was president for 1 year also. So I plan on continuing to follow in his footsteps, and we're off for the summer, but the board is gonna meet in August and kind of talk about what we're gonna do in the fall. It's a legislative board, and there is the league actually has 3 employees, and they work full time, and they follow legislation throughout Missouri and keep us updated on what the legislators are talking about in Jeff City.
Well, again, speaking of Jeff City,
Okay.
now, do you take a trip to Jeff City for any reason?
So I'm also on the Missouri Municipal League Taxation and Finance Committee, and we meet once a year. We talk about policies and what needs to be changed. This is all done in a half a day, and then actually that's coming up here before the end of the month. And there's a Missouri Municipal League conference once a year. It's in September, and it is at one of 5 cities in the state of Missouri. They rotate them. This year it's in St. Charles. So the policies will be presented to all the municipal officials, and they will vote on it at that conference, along with other policies from other committees also. So.
When you go to something like that, now, do you take a secretary or someone with you to
No.
take notes? Or?
No. Council members go also if they want. We're allowed to, if we bring our spouse, we have to pay for them to attend certain functions, meals and that. Mm-hmm. Otherwise the city pays for mine and the council members. Our city clerk goes because they have specific meetings and conferences within the conference for them. And our HR director, HR personnel person also goes. Sometimes the chief of police will go because they have meetings and workshops for them. So it's not just for the elected officials; it's for employees also.
I see.
But there's
Is it just a 1 day time?
Oh no, it's about 4 days.
Oh wow!
Normally they start on a Sunday and they end on a Wednesday morning.
Oh.
So, and they have a evening banquet, a large evening banquet on that Tuesday evening, and then they have a breakfast the next morning, and there's a ending banquet guest speaker, and after that concludes, and everybody goes home. Last year it was at Branson.
Okay.
And the year prior to that, it was down at the Lake of the Ozarks at Margaritaville. The city of St. Louis is one of the cities. Kansas City is one of the cities. St. Charles, Branson, and the Lake of the Ozarks. So,
Mayor Hines, something that has happened in Bridgeton recently I want to ask you about is these darn storms that keep plaguing our area. Couple of them just this spring, late winter and spring. How is Bridgeton affected by these?
well, we had the tornado go through March the 14th, and I know that very well because my home was one that sustained quite a bit of damage.
It did?
I had a section of my roof that was blown off.
Oh my!
And
wow!
My garage door was blown in, and I took out the header going across the garage. I'm sorry to say I still have not settled with my insurance company. I found things that they didn't list on their report when the adjuster came out. I have a couple of walls that are bowed out on the outside. If you look down straight, at them going across, they're bowed out. They sent a structural engineer a couple of weeks ago, and he said that he would have a report done within 3 to 4 days. I still have not seen that report, but I'm not worried about myself. I'm worried about the other people in Bridgeton. I want to say one thing. We were very fortunate that there weren't any deaths or injuries, and I have to say that we have a very fine police department and public works department because Chief Masadi called me within 20 minutes of the tornado and was on his way in here from being at home. It was a Friday night, and he set up a command center over there in the multi-purpose room in the front of the building here. And the fire protection districts came in, Pattonville and Robertson, because they both serviced the area that was affected by the tornado. Public Works, Matt Elliott, he's the street department superintendent, he was in there. And they were just coordinating everything with the police and the firemen on the streets going home to home, checking on people's welfare. And they would map it out and, had a very nice map and detail of what homes were affected, and luckily there was no deaths or injuries.
How many homes do you think were affected?
Close to 400.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, now some of it was minor. There's probably a lot of people getting roofs on. Some of it was from hail, not only on this side of 70, but also on the south side of 70. There was some damage over there also from the winds. Probably, I'm going to say 30 to 40 suffered significant damages. So there were 2 houses on my street that I thought would be tear downs.
Oh, really?
They were that bad. One house only had 2 exterior walls standing.
Oh, my.
The roof was gone, and it's being rebuilt. Somebody bought it, I think, from the insurance company, and they're rebuilding it. There was a box van that was overturned in the driveway. That's 2 doors up from my house, 3 doors, I think. But we're fortunate. It was only an EF2 tornado. The one that came through in 2011 that Mayor Bowers dealt with was an EF4. A lot worse.
Right.
But again, there were no deaths or any injuries in that tornado. That one happened a little bit earlier in the day. It was on a Friday.
I call it the Good Friday tornado.
Yeah, it wasn't dark yet. Now this one hit somewhere between 10 and 10:30. So I was.
And were you home at that time?
Oh yeah, I was in the basement watching the news, the weather.
Did you lose the power?
All of a sudden, it went black, and there was a loud noise, and you could hear the wind outside. It seemed like it was over within about 15 seconds. So,
Oh.
But it did a lot of damage.
Did you go outside then and look outside and like just kind of walk around to see?
Well, Sally went upstairs first, and here's why. I had my hip replaced the week before, March 7th, so I was still on a walker. So she went up first. I thought there was going to be broken glass based on the sound.
Mm-hmm.
There was no broken glass. She kind of made her way through the house a little bit and outside, but she didn't go down the hallway towards the bedrooms. When I got up there, I went down the hallway towards the bedrooms, and I'm looking up, and the attic access panel was gone. So I get closer, and I look up, and I said, oh, that's the sky I'm looking at. Okay. So we had to go stay at a hotel for 3 or 4 nights, 5 nights maybe. And I want to thank all the volunteers that came out that night. Actually, councilperson Gretchen Luke and her husband and their son, and one of their neighbors, and even our city administrator came out, and they got on my roof, and they put tarps up there for me.
Isn't that something?
It is. And Gretchen, of course, continued her efforts for the next couple of weeks, I think. She held a position at the Salvation Army, so she was used to disaster relief services and what they do, so she helped out quite a bit of people. So big thank you to Gretchen. And then there was just residents that pitched in too. Nancy Lupia came over that night, and she helped pick stuff up out of the yard, that was kind of a hindrance to walk through. I was on a walker, so I couldn't do a whole lot walking out there. And then the next day, friends came over and helped cut up a tree that had uprooted in my backyard. Personal friends that don't live in Bridgeton came over and helped pick up tree limb debris and shingles and roofing material out of the yard. So a lot of people pitched in. You ever hear Tammy's Tumbling?
Sure.
Tammy and her husband came over, I think that Sunday, and we're helping in the neighborhood, cutting up trees and getting branches out to the curb.
Well, I believe their house really sustained with a lot of damage in that Good Friday tornado. Am I right?
You're right. So she said they were paying it forward. All the volunteers that helped them.
That is good,
right. They came over and helped people over here that needed help. So.
Does she still have her tumbling business?
She does. Is
it still here in Bridgeton?
It is, right? Yeah, it's over on Bridgeton Drive, over there behind the old Pizza Hut.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes,
She's over there now.
yes.
And I know a couple of people that take a senior class from her. They
Sounds good.
They do tap and ballet, and then they go around and they put on little shows at nursing homes, assisted living facilities, things like that. I told her as soon as I get some time, maybe I'll come over and do that also. I'd love to do that.
Well, Angela, do you have anything you want to ask Mayor Hein?
What's your favorite thing about Bridgeton?
My favorite thing about Bridgeton? So, I believe it's the residents, to tell you the truth. We have a lot of longtime residents here. I know a lot of people got bought out by the airport expansion. A lot of them tried to stay here, but we only had so much housing market, so the others had to leave, and I think they probably moved west across the river. But the people that have stayed here have made a difference in our community, and will continue to do so. We're kind of known as a senior community, and I don't think that's going to change until people start passing away. And then even then it may not change. The people that that are getting older, one being myself, I've been here 27 years in Bridgeton. I'm 65 now, so I don't plan on going anywhere else. So I think that's one of our strong assets. I do like our police department, and I do like our park system. So, we have 10 parks. We have the Berry Hill Golf Course. That's beneficial for a lot of people. We have BMAC, the athletic ball fields just west of here. That brings a lot of people in from other municipalities and other states for tournaments. So we have a lot to offer here. Location, Highway 70 and 270, you can get on and be anywhere else in the St. Louis area within 15-20 minutes, So it takes three things, I think, to make us successful. It's the residents, the employees, and the businesses. And as long as those three things, stay in motion with each other, we're going to continue moving forward. I want economic development to be my legacy. So we're looking at a lot of things. We're trying to give the airport ideas on what kind of businesses they should look at bringing in at the old Carrollton. They say they can't sell the land, so they have to lease it. They put out a request for proposals last fall, and they wanted those turned in by the end of January. They extended the time to the end of March. They didn't get one proposal. So they came, Rhonda, the airport director, came and met with Mr. Bookout and myself about a month ago and asked what our ideas were. So we talked to her about it. We do have some land out in the floodplain area that can be developed into warehousing, which doesn't bring in retail sales tax revenue, but it does bring in jobs, and it brings in employees that will spend at other areas in Bridgeton. So there's a couple of developments out there that are being considered right now. One's on the north side of 370, one's on the south side of 370. But we'll see what happens. We do have some other buildings that are unoccupied out towards our city, larger facilities, so we're trying to work with them and see if we can come up with some potential buyers for them. So that means revenue for the city. It's not sales tax revenue. We get money from gross receipts tax, which is on utilities. So that would help if those buildings are up and running again and all the utilities are on. We have, we own Natural Bridge, and the reasoning for that, and that's from Cypress Road to St. Charles Rock Road. The reasoning for that, I think I voted against it when I was on council, but the reasoning for that back then when the council members voted aye for us to take it over from MoDOT, we wanted to make this our main thoroughfare and kind of make this a town square here. So we're still looking at doing something with it eventually. It's going to be in our comprehensive plan. Maybe some nicer, newer apartments with retails on the bottom floor. Seems like some of the seniors want to move into apartments now, and not the standalone buildings, but apartment buildings where there's several floors, you know, and some green space. So we're taking a look at those things. So
Thank you so much for meeting with us
Okay.
this evening. I do appreciate your time, and I hope many of your ideas will come.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Judy. Appreciate it, Angela.
Thank you.
Okay.